Americans were protected earlier this year, or earlier, when did that happen? Like in September, not earlier in the year, just a few months ago. They received protection from protection that they had that ended. What the heck am I talking about? Well, under the CARES Act, we're talking about different forms of stimulus and how they're coming to an end. Well, this form of stimulus had actually come to an end, but then it was kind of revived. Under the CARES Act, there were limited, not sweeping, but limited protection against tenants being evicted, right? And the protection basically benefited only homes that had federally backed mortgage loans or households that received some type of federal funding. The protections actually ended in September, they ended, but then what ended up happening was in September, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, as kind of odd as it was to some people, and we've actually seen lawsuits, where people have tried to say, look, this is kind of like not within their jurisdiction. But the CDC came along and they said, look, we've got a halt on evictions because, yes, people can't pay rent, but we have a pandemic that's going on, right? Now, what I will say about this is this. Obviously, I'm talking about forms of stimulus that are going to be gone come December 31st, right? This is included in that. But I want to mention something. I at the top of the show talked about the top of this podcast episode. I talked about how we talk about businesses closing. We even talked about businesses kind of doing bankruptcy and restructuring, but we really haven't talked much as a country about personal bankruptcies that have either started happening or that are about to start happening so people can get protection from eviction. And this is one of the things that I really think politicians need to consider, because unless they come along and they rewrite these bankruptcy laws, even if they decide that, hey, we're going to do stimulus again, and they decide, well, look, we're not going to protect from eviction because these people are going to end up getting evicted anyways because they're not going to have a lump sum of money to pay. If they didn't get a lump sum of money, they literally have to understand, they need to take into consideration that even if you don't provide via economic stimulus protection against evictions, you are still going to be affording constituents a protection against evictions in the form of the bankruptcy laws that we have on the books at the moment. And so some people aren't aware of the protections that they can be afforded, and some people are. Some people will come to know about these protections. And that said, again, we're having this national discussion about, oh my gosh, a whole slew of people are going to have $5,000 plus worth of rent all due at once that they can't pay because they were banking on a stimulus check. They were banking on being able to get a job. They were banking on this, that, and the other. Whatever the case is, they were banking on it. They don't have it. They missed the shot, unlike our ex-president, President Barack Obama. Did you see he made that shot? It was wonderful, right? If you don't know what I'm referencing, oh well. So, look, we are on the verge of not just this eviction crisis, but a bankruptcy crisis. And I think that this is something that needs to be talked about, right? I'm not seeing enough political discussion around this. We're talking about, oh my gosh, they need to, get eviction protections and but bankruptcy it goes beyond, like, even when you talk about bankruptcy on a personal level, it's not about protections that consumers can be afforded. It's also about the impact that it has on them long term, right? And so, we talk about the economic stimulus and, oh, the economy isn't going to rebound until 2023, 2024, whatever. But for a lot of people on a very personal level, their personal economies, especially if they have to go the route of bankruptcy, isn't going to rebound for, 7 years, 10 years? I don't know. I've never filed bankruptcy. No idea. But I know it's a long time. Do we want to do that to a sizable portion of Americans? Like, do we really want to do that? Is there an alternative? There may not be, but at the very least, I want us to question, Have we done enough? Have we had enough discussion around this to at least look like we're trying to figure it out? Because we have to figure it out, because it's not just an eviction crisis. As much as those who are into real estate and invested in real estate would like to frame it as real estate, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. And we need to think about it.